Hi, my name is Matt Foster, and this is my project 3 for English. I wanted to start off by talking about my script um, and how I think it is pretty strong. I mean, it's uh, they ask uh, they ask each other about the movie and the book and how it's different, which is what we talk about in this project. And I think that um, it gave really the only differences of the book, which was the ending, because the plot was all really the same throughout the whole book as it was in the movie. Um, Precious, who was a girl who got raped and beaten by her father, um, what did she do? She got to keep her kids in the end. Um, she was pregnant at the age of 11, and I think at the age of 16 as well. And in the book, she didn't get to do that, so it kind of left us on a cliffhanger. So that wasn't like a huge difference, I guess, but I mean, it made the ending what it was, different. Um, Her mom didn't really want her to be beaten that bad, but her mom did kind of abuse her too, and kind of show that she hated her and didn't like her very much. So um, I thought a really great quote from the book was when she was out somewhere. I think she was at like a restaurant, and she talked about how her mom and dad aren't the winners and she is. Um, she's a winner because she went out and met random people who liked her and she was having a good time with them. And since her parents didn't like her very much, she felt like that was like the coolest thing ever, like a lot cooler than her having people around her that still hated her and stuff. And a lot of the part was just like a lot of the movie and the book was just her trying to get everything out of her head and try to get everything she needed together, in order to reach that climax point where she could change and be the person she wanted to be and be happy, instead of being depressed and sad all the time. Um, but I thought that was really a huge turning point of the book because she eventually just got like that. She had her ups and downs throughout the whole book, but she eventually got to that stage where she was like, all right, like I'm good. Like my mom and dad are the losers. I'm not. Like I come out here with random people who like me and I can get along with them. And like my parents, they can leave. Like I don't need them. I don't need them to tell me how good or bad I am at everything I do. Like this is me. Like this is who I am. And I can have friends. And I thought it was really cool that she was just able to clear her head and forget about everything in that point of time and just relax. Because I was thinking about it. What if I was like in that same spot as her throughout the whole book? Like it made me really question like what's going on throughout like society. Like how often does this really happen and stuff. And I had to stop and like take a moment when reading this because some of it was so brutal and like really contemplate like what would I do in these kinds of situations, and I'd probably be the same way she was, frightened about everything, scared about the world and um what I'm doing, like just like how do I get out of this, and it'd be like it's a really hard situation and it's tough for people to think about, but when it all comes down to it, everyone can overcome it. You can you can't run from your problems, but you can make a better situation out of your problems is how I felt. And I thought it was a huge eye opener to me, like the fact that it even made me like question what's going on in society. And like I read a lot about like the book from other people and what they had to say too, get different opinions. And everyone was just kind of like it's crazy to think about how this happens in society, but um, everything about that was the same in the movie. I didn't think any part of it really changed. So I thought that was really interesting. I will say I thought it was interesting, and she was talking to her counselor, Um, and it was weird because both in the movie and the book, the similarities were she would go to the counselor and talk to her, and they would just get frustrated with each other. She couldn't do the exercise, and she'd get really frustrated and have flashbacks. And the same thing was going on in the movie, and the counselor would get frustrated and say, like, look, I can't help you. I can't do this for you. Like, you got to do it yourself. And she was just getting really frustrated with her. And that made it really, really hard for her to help her overcome it as well. Like, she couldn't be patient. Everything pretty much was the same, though. She got pregnant at the age of 11 and 16, which I already mentioned. She was raped and abused by her dad. Both times she was pregnant were from her father. She talked to her school counselor a lot, just trying to get over a lot of the stuff that was going on. And when the mom is asked about it, and like why'd she let her kids get beaten and stuff, she would say like I didn't like want them to, but I wasn't gonna get in the way of him, you know, like I was gonna let him do what he needed to do, kind of deal, like kind of seemed like she was gonna protect the husband more than she was the daughter, which kind of sucks, you know, but just a lot of stuff that can make you really just sit there and think, and I had to clear my head, and I had to pause the movie and pause my reading just to clear my head and my thoughts, you know, like go over what I just saw or what I was thinking about, because a lot of it was just very harsh on the mind and harsh on the body, especially watching what was happening to her body. There wasn't a whole lot of differences to talk about besides the ending, and I thought the ending of the movie was a lot cooler than the ending in the book, because it wasn't a cliffhanger. Like, we got to see her happy, you know, like overcome everything that was going on in her life. So that was really cool for me to be able to see and watch, and like actually have like a picture of it instead of like just trying to imagine in my brain. Although the author of this book did a really good job of painting that picture in my head, just trying to get me to like think and like really empathize with Precious. So that was really cool. There was a lot of things that may have just been slightly off, like certain quotes and stuff, but other than that, that was really like the only difference I could truly think about. So it really just taught me to really like be a fighter, you know, like keep your mind open to what's going on in society. Don't just sit there and let things happen that you don't think should happen, or like be open to like what other people could be going through, because you never know. You can't be getting worked up with everyone about certain things that may be having a different situation than you, and maybe a little bit easier to get down on themselves because of everything that's going on, you know. Like, there are days where I'm sitting at home and like after reading this, it really like cleared my mind and opened up this thought to me. Is like, I'll be sitting at home just like sad and stuff, you know, and someone will say something to me and I'll be a little bit more sensitive to that comment because of what had happened that day, you know, when normally I wouldn't have gotten mad. So I like gotta realize like people can get mad at certain stuff that normally they wouldn't get mad at, and you just have to understand like things could be going on that's different. Other than that, this book was just a really great eye-opener, and I really enjoyed it, and the movie was awesome. But I kind of wish the movie was a little bit more different, because there's not a whole lot of difference to talk about. There's just a bunch of similarities. But that's pretty much it. My name's Matt Foster. Over and out.